Okay, says we're live. I hope we're live.
All right. Okay.
Hopefully this is working.
Tell us if it's not, please. I have the chat open.
I have the
See?
Twitch chat open where I can see it, but
Yeah, we'll drink it now. Okay, we'll drink our thing.
rude.
Yes, there's only one right answer. Okay, so I will tell you your arm is in part of my frame.
Fixing it. Fixing it there. Fixed it.
That's the only thing I see.
Fixed it.
And as far as I can tell, oh no, they can't hear you.
Hello. Can you hear me
You
now?
hear?
Hello. You know, can you hear me now?
Wait for the delay.
Hello. Screaming quietly into the void. Maybe if I turn our input capture up just a little bit here.
Now can you hear? Well, nothing.
What? Oh no! What is going on?
No!
It's working
Oh
on my
well.
end. What the hell? Oh no.
I feel like this has happened before where sometimes person hosting not
Hello.
be heard.
Can you hear me now? Hello.
It sure is.
Hate technology, but I also love it.
Oh.
Hello.
Does
Okay.
hey mean it's working? Okay, there we go.
Okay, good. It was trying to pick up my headphones, not my microphone. I don't know. It's fine.
Love to see
Technology
it.
sucks.
I mean, it's
That's what it
also
doesn't.
complicated. Hello, everyone. Welcome to chat number 3 of the VäkPäker's Guide to TTRPGs. Our sponsor for tonight is Canadian Dice. Go to canadiandice.ca and use the code THEVACTER, all one word, at checkout for 10% off your order. Maggie's Dice Pick of the Week is Rampage because Ram goes on rampages and they have a book of secrets that has pages in it. Rampage.
According to her last night, anyways.
Next, make sure you check out our merch store at tinyurl.com/vacmerch. You can get excellent designs like Half Orc Energy and the Vac Blob. And I think you're wearing something. I'm being
Yeah, I got the patch shirt on.
irresponsible. I wore mine yesterday and then I got food on it.
Oh no.
So I'm wearing a Critical Role shirt today that's black and doesn't show stains. Hey, go buy stuff from our store. And obviously, we're doing this now. Ours is on here. It's so funny. Okay.
Whoops.
Tomorrow night, as far as our schedule for the week, tomorrow night, Affy and Artemis will be over on DM Jeremy's channel for the return of Legacy of Fire. 7:30 p.m. Eastern. We're so excited that show is back, even though we will miss the vampires. And then, so that's going to be on DM Jeremy's channel tomorrow. Then Monday, come back here to watch Mistwalkers at 8:30. Wednesday, Affy, Sly, Jeremy, and Artemis are over on Cantrips and Coffee for the Society at 9 p.m. Eastern. That's a Call of Cthulhu game. On Thursday, here is A Song of Crystal and Shadow at 8:30 p.m. That's our D&D 5e Final Fantasy game. And then on Friday evening, here as well, Fixius 5, 8:30 p.m. We get to find out what the Elf City looks like.
and hopefully save the king or something. I don't know.
Or I mean, maybe.
You guys almost completely derailed the campaign last night. There was a little bit I was like, oops.
Really?
Yeah.
Boy. Well.
There's a couple of decisions that y'all made that I was like, oh, if they do that, that's going to change everything.
D&D. Come watch our show every other week to learn about this and other things that can go wrong with your TTRPG games.
Yep.
What happens if your players go the wrong direction? Find out here. But tonight we're talking about the
Set some stuff on
yeah,
fire.
we just start RP. Tonight we're talking about the rest of the classes in the player's handbook, starting with the ranger. And that will likely take us the whole time because wizards have like a million subclasses. So,
Yeah, they do.
yeah. So we're just gonna kind of dig into stuff. Starting with the ranger.
Emily's
Spoiler
favorite
alert.
class.
In the PHB, the ranger kinda sucks. And here's why. When you compare the ranger, who only gets like one extra attack at level 5,
Melissa.
and I mean, they're kind of tanky, but that's it. If you go for the beast walker, or that's not what it is,
Beastmaster or whatever.
Beastmaster Ranger,
Yeah.
you really, like, there's hardly anything you can do. You can cast Hunter's Mark for an extra d6.
Hmm.
And it's a concentration spell, so you can't do anything else with it.
Right.
I mean, yeah. Compared to, like,
You
the
can
druid.
still do like, is it Barrage of Thorns or something? Right? Or Hail
Yeah,
of
but you
Thorns?
Hail of Thorns you can do, and
Which
there's
isn't
like,
really powerful, but it's
well,
extra
and here's the
damage.
thing, all almost all the spells that seem to go with the ranger classes are concentration. So you can't stack anything. Don't get cantrips to help you. Um, and yeah, you only get the one extra attack. So it's not like you're like a fighter. So you're like a combination of a fighter and a druid. Then like a druid gets unlimited wild shapes that level up with them. So at level 20, a moon circle of the moon druid can be an elemental as many times as they want. And the level 20 ranger still only gets 2 attacks and maybe Hunter's Mark. Or maybe Hail of Thorns. It's just not great. I will say, first of all, they have improved on it a lot. Some of the subclasses in the other books are really awesome.
There's a couple of them that are just straight up broken. But
Yeah, like Gloomstalker.
yeah.
At some point, we'll get to talking about that one because Gloomstalkers are actually really freaking cool.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, as it exists in the PHB, it's definitely easier to learn if you're a beginner. I will say that. If you're new and you want a character that is simple to learn, that can also take a hit every now and again,
Be
because
a fighter.
rangers get a d10, um, then you could be a ranger or a fighter. The builds are a little bit simpler,
Hmm.
so that's something.
I think like the nice thing about a ranger, obviously not the Beastmaster, but the like I really like the Colossus Slayer and
Yeah,
what is the other one? Hordebreaker. We were talking about this with Jeremy earlier, where like those are still probably some of the better subclasses for rangers because
yeah,
you can do a lot with those.
yeah. Those are part of the hunter subclass. That one's actually still pretty decent,
Mm.
even everything.
Yeah, and with
It
Tasha's
gives
ability to
you
change things up too, it gives you a little bit more freedom even with that. So,
yep, you have choices with that. So you can almost take the hunter ranger and make it specific to like whatever campaign you're in. Like he was saying, if you did Lost Mines of Phandelver, and there's a lot of like goblins and
goblins.
orcs, Hordebreaker would be a like a great choice for that.
So to answer
Like,
your
yeah, he's
question,
very right.
Alyssa, a horde breaker is so once on each of your turns, when you make a weapon attack, you can make another attack with the same weapon against a different creature that's within 5 feet of the original target. So say you have two goblins that are like next to each other, and you hit one of them, you can immediately attack the other one, which is nice.
Even like at higher levels, you can add other abilities. So it's
Mm.
kind of like the totem barbarian in that way, like how you have the choices and you can kind of mix
Yeah,
and match.
can mix and match. You don't have to follow the same totem the whole way through.
But like again with Escape the Horde, like if you're dealing with this through a whole campaign where you're going to be up against like waves of creatures.
Mm.
Escape the Horde means opportunity attacks are made with disadvantage. And then I think let's see. Oh,
Escape
at
the horde.
11th
Yeah.
level, you can do a volley or a whirlwind. So you get like an attack that's an area of effect, which really is it's
Thanks,
kind
Liz.
of addresses the thing I was just complaining about, where you only get like one extra attack and you're not that impressive. At
Hmm.
level 11, the idea that you can do an area of effect with those attacks, that's pretty good.
Yeah. And
That's pretty good.
whirlwind, that's any creature within 5 feet of you. So say your character gets surrounded and you do that attack, it hits all of the creatures around you, which is nice.
Yeah.
Some of the other
And then I
options that you
think,
can get are like multi-attack defense. So like when a creature hits you with an attack, you get a +40 your AC for all subsequent attacks made
yeah,
by that creature. Steel will gives you advantage on saving throws against being frightened, which is pretty cool.
yeah.
Um The other one that is part of hunters is giant killer. So whenever you're fighting a creature that's large or bigger, so
Yeah.
there's huge and colossus and titan is above that.
Well, there's large, huge, gargantuan.
Yeah,
Wait,
gargantuan and then colossus or colossal or whatever. I think is the biggest one, isn't
I
it?
thought gargantuan was the biggest one, but
Maybe.
hold on.
I don't know. They keep
Right.
adding creatures to like the codexes, so like I'd never know anymore what's the biggest.
Yeah.
And plus, if you're a homebrew DM like I am, like I have primordial titans in my game. Like there's a primordial titan
Yeah.
that's literally holding a city in its arms. So
Okay. So the sizes in D&D, according to the basic rules, are tiny, small. Tiny takes up a quarter of a 5 foot square. Small takes up a 5 foot square. Medium takes a 5 foot square. Large is 10 by 10.
mhm.
Huge is 15 by 15. And then gargantuan is basically just a catch all where it's 20 by 20 or larger. Which, like,
There are some creatures that are definitely bigger than that. Like obviously,
yeah,
I think adult adult dragons or not adult dragon, maybe adult dragons and older
ancient
are
dragons are
bigger.
definitely gargantuan.
Yeah, they're definitely bigger than that. They're bigger than a 20 by 20.
Right, exactly, Cat Lady Liz. There ought to be something like unbelievably immense.
Yes.
Like, beyond comprehension. Size of a city. If you can like I'm just thinking too of like because you're talking about like primordial beings.
Hmm.
And in campaign one of Critical Role, for instance, like
Yeah, the Titan had Thermfala on its back, which was an
yeah,
entire
like
city.
they spent several episodes going up through the inside of the thing.
Yeah, I think they climbed up through its leg, didn't they? and
Yeah,
then ended up in the city that was on its back,
and it's
if I
back.
remember
Yeah,
correctly.
I
So,
think you are correct.
and
So yeah, like
yeah. And so like at
when
higher
you have
levels, so
that
like
many, it's like
15th level, you can choose between evasion, which is really nice because that gives you like the ability.
yes,
So like there's that running joke about monks don't take damage from fireball. Like this
yeah,
basically is the same thing.
same thing.
Um
Yeah,
there's so again in the same sort of vein as like if you're fighting against a lot of creatures, there's stand against the tide, which is if a hostile creature misses you with a melee attack, you can use your reaction to force that creature to repeat the same attack but against another creature.
yeah, that's
And
pretty
then you can
cool.
get uncanny dodge, which is like when an
Like
attacker
what
that
a
you can
rogue can
see
do.
hits you, then you can use your
Yeah.
reaction to have the damage, which is really nice.
So
I believe rogues get that ability, right?
yes,
Yeah, they get that
rogues
at a much
get
lower
both
level.
uncanny dodge. Yes,
And evasion, I
which
think.
we'll go over that next. So stay tuned. I
Um,
think yeah, the difference is that uncanny dodge is like when you're going against one person.
mhm.
Evasion is like an area of effect thing. Which, like you said, I mean, fireball, lightning bolt, anything that makes you make a deck save, that will do it.
Yeah, and I'm double checking Beastmaster right now. So, at like level 11, you can command your beast to take the attack action. It can take two attacks, or if it's one of those creatures that like
Yeah.
has multi attack, like I think wolves can do two attacks, one with their claws and then one with their bite,
Yeah, and
right?
I think bears get two. Wolves
Yeah.
get that pack tactics thing where they
Yep,
get
which is
advantage if
nice.
they're by someone.
And then at level
Um,
15 you can share you get to share your spell. So like say you target uh is it Hunter's Mark that you can share?
oh, then they also get the
They get the
benefits of
bonus damage
hunter's
or
mark.
something like that. I don't remember because I've never played a Beastmaster because it just
Or
they're not
like
great.
if you healed yourself, you
You
would
can
also
heal,
heal
yeah.
your.
Yep.
The downside with your ranger companion is you get
Doesn't
this
level.
companion. Yeah, you get it at level 3. It's a quarter challenge rating.
Yep.
So like
Oops.
a hawk, which has 1 hit point, a mastiff, which has 5 hit points, a panther, which has 13. Like that doesn't level with you because like even like the thing with the druid's wild shape is that levels with them, and a wizard's familiar is a fey being, so it will come back. So even though it's not like a combat creature or something, it doesn't actually die when you kill it. Your ranger companion is just an animal, and if your animal doesn't get the benefit of leveling up with you, it never gets any more hit points. And so, what, you're a level 20 ranger and you get caught in, like, you're fighting, Vecna or whoever, and your animal companion has no way to escape and just dies, like, because it has 5 hit points. That's a problem.
Right.
It's the whole point of your subclass is that you get this companion to make attacks with you. Even a druid who has the ability to summon other creatures and summon them at a higher level
Yeah.
than what this companion is. So like I could summon 8 elks with one spell,
Mhm.
and Beastmaster Ranger still only has a quarter challenge rating limit.
Which, like, if you're a DM at that point,
Dumb.
like, if you're not homebrewing hit points for that animal, you're just being a jerk to your
Yes.
player. Like,
Which I think they did in Critical Role, and they did
yes,
a
I
whole bunch
believe
of
they
other
did that
stuff.
with Trinket. Like,
Yeah.
and I think
Like,
eventually, like, Vex got the ability to speak to him,
yes. Yeah.
I think.
And then
Been a
she
minute.
also had that well, that was just a spell she had, I think.
Yeah.
She could cast it. She had that necklace too.
That she could keep him in like a Pokeball.
Yeah, she could keep him in there and keep him safe. And anytime he went unconscious, he went in there so he was safe instead of just flat out
Flat out dying.
dying.
Because there was that one, I remember the episode where they were fighting those Behirs and Trinket just got laid out. And
Mhm. Yeah, that was
so,
bad. Yeah, you don't well, and like I was talking about this earlier, they have updated the Beastmaster Ranger first of all to give you an option to bring your animal companion back.
hmm,
Um
sort of like a wizard's familiar.
yeah. But when we were talking earlier with Jeremy, I also mentioned that like I've seen an example before where it was a particularly brutal kind of hardcore campaign and there wasn't going to be any options for resurrection for anyone. So when the ranger lost their companion, their beast companion, they were gone. They were just gone. Then the DM allowed that to be a story point for the ranger to not only make some interesting character choices, but change their subclass.
Mm.
Um,
You said they became
because of
like a
what happened.
Gloomstalker or something, right?
Gloomstalker,
Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, there are ways you can do that too, if you really want to play it that way.
Mm.
It's just something everyone needs to agree to
Yeah.
before before the game starts. Otherwise, you have friends coming to you like, "You killed my friend,
Yeah.
and I can't get him back now."
Yep.
Then what do you do?
All right, are we done complaining about Rangers? Should we move on to
I think
Rogues?
so. I mean, they're still it's still fun, and like the reason people want to be a Beastmaster Ranger is because you do get to have a cool pet who does things with you. So, in that regard, if you want to be a Beastmaster Ranger, do it. Also, check out the other options. Rogues are next.
Yes. Rogues are probably the class I know the least about because
Ooh,
I have played exactly one and it was for a one shot and that was it. So
that
like
was it.
they're the apart from paladins, they're the other class that I have very little interest in ever playing. So
Interesting. Okay.
I think
I
I think it was Jeremy's one shot that we did where it was oops all rogues. I think.
really
Yes, and I
that would be
literally
fun.
figured out a way to make a healer rogue because we didn't have
How?
one. So, oh, I'm trying to remember how I did it now. But it was like you take is it magic initiate
Oh
and
yeah.
there was something else. There was another subclass, but I basically made a healer rogue because I was like,
That's
we
so
don't have a
cool.
healer, we're all gonna die. And we're gonna be running around in Jeremy's world, and Jeremy
Well,
doesn't pull punches. So like
I think there is a healer feat too, or
yeah, something like that where you can like
something like
use the
that.
healing kit. Yeah.
Yeah,
So basically
and
that's what
bring
I
people
did was
back.
I built it that way. And yeah.
That's great. Love
Like I
that.
figured out a way around it and I'm like, yes, let's do it. And Jeremy was like, you made a cleric without making a cleric. How did you make a cleric without making a cleric?
Look, cleric's got a cleric, okay?
Look, I have one job on this ship. It's stupid, but I'm gonna do it.
Gonna do it. Um,
Many times
Rogues.
a game do we quote Galaxy Quest?
That movie is fantastic.
It is.
No one
It's
can
great.
complain because it's so good.
It's
Um, rogues are
rogues are good
so
because they're a little
interesting
bit hardier be than like say a wizard or a wizard or what's the other one that has a D6, a sorcerer.
for sure.
They
Yeah,
have a D8 that they start with, which is nice. So they're a little bit
yeah.
stronger.
And they're quick and they do a whole lot of damage without having to learn any spells.
Yep. Yeah. And they actually have a couple of subclasses in or they're called archetypes
Right. So yeah.
um in the player's handbook. but uh let's see. The first one is the thief. So in
Yes.
Jeremy's game on Sunday nights, Anise is a thief. She's a tiefling thief rogue. She's also
Okay.
a were jaguar now because she got bit right before we ended up falling into the domains of dread. She got bit and turned into like this were creature. So yeah,
That's cool.
yeah, it's pretty dope. She's like immune to non-magical bludgeoning and piercing damage now. So
What?
yeah, it's pretty cool.
Okay. Okay. Well,
Um, but thieves, let's see. So at third level for a thief, you get to use your bonus action to make a dexterity or like a sleight of hand check to use your thieves tools to disarm traps. So that's great if you're in a campaign that uses them. However, I don't put my
yeah.
players in dungeons that often, and when I do, I forget to do traps. I ran you guys through Sunless Citadel without running you through Sunless Citadel and forgot half the traps.
Oh no. Well, and I mean, that's kind of what I guess that's kind of what rogues are there for, right? Like
Yeah. They're the
they
ones who go set the
are
booby traps off.
the sneaky ones who look for and disarm traps
Mhm.
and do all that. They have this sneak attack ability that again levels up with him. That's you know what they should do? That's how they should level up the Ranger's Peace Companion.
Mhm.
Is in a similar way to sneak attack, where like you add a die every so
Right here and
many.
there. Yep.
Yep, for like the damage that your animal companion can do.
Right. And also
Come
give
on.
it more hit points.
Yes.
But
Um,
we had a rogue in Fixius for a little while, and they kept forgetting to check for traps. So
what kind of rogue was Clarity?
Clarity was arcane trickster,
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah,
and
because he had the familiar.
yep, and
Wasn't was Robin a rogue?
it's Robin was a rogue, but she was a thief, I believe.
Hmm.
But she left before you got there. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, man, that was a long time ago
Hey,
now. Oh,
you know what I do like? That I mean, some of these have some subclasses have abilities that are like so specific. But if
mhm.
you get a chance to use them, they're really
They're
cool.
amazing. Yeah.
Like the thief gets something called second story work, where like climbing doesn't cost extra movement.
Yep. Because usually your climb speed is
That's
like half,
cool.
right? It's half your movement to
Yeah, it's
climb.
like half your movement to climb.
Yeah. But they ignore that. And
You can jump.
Monday nights during for Affy's game, we have a rogue that their weapon of choice is a magical bag of shoes.
What?
Yeah. Their weapon
Who?
so Sly, her weapon is it's a magical like bag that fills with shoes every night, and they're like high heeled stilettos, and she just hucks them at bad guys, and that's how she attacks. And actually, the artificer before the player switched to his new character, the artificer made a slingshot for the shoes, so now she has a slingshot that like hunts these shoes at people, and she just whacks them with these high heeled stilettos. So it's pretty great.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Who throws a
Wow.
shoe?
Okay. Okay. Freaking love
Obviously,
that.
Sly does,
I
but
mean, some shoes you could do real
oh, I'd
damage
be doing it with like Nike slides, man. I'd be using those because those
with.
suckers hurt. Like as a
Oh
person
my
who has been
gosh.
hit with those before, those hurt.
Oh, I didn't know this. At ninth level, you have advantage on stealth checks if you move no more than half your speed on the turn. Then rogues also get the bonus action dash because they're quick. So potentially you could move your full movement and still stealth if you use
Hmm.
your action to hide.
Yeah.
I don't know, that's kind of cool.
Turns. Thieves reflexes gives you, let's see, come and adept at laying ambushes and quickly escaping danger. You can take 2 turns during the first round of any combat. You take your first turn at your normal initiative and your second at your initiative minus 10. So like say you rolled an 18, you take that at initiative 8.
Huh.
You
So
can't use this
2
feature
turns
while
in
you
your
are
first turn.
surprised.
That's cool.
Yeah, which is cool. Assassins
I
are cool.
I also I also have to say too, I appreciate that it's the thief and not the arcane trickster that gets an ability for being able to use any magic item no matter what it is.
Yes.
Because it's like, yeah, I've stolen so much fancy stuff. I
But like I can
actually
just use
do
it.
know how to use this. Thank you for asking.
The Ranger Rogue combo for Pass Without a Trace. Yeah, Pass Without a Trace is great because it gives you a plus 10 to your
Yes.
your your stealth rolls, which is amazing. So
Yes.
this
Me
is a cool
too.
thing about Earth
Yeah.
Genasi is that they get Pass Without a Trace as just like a racial spell, which
Mm-hmm.
is pretty dope. Okay, so next
Oh,
one up is Assassins. Those
Earth
ones, so these
Genasi
are gonna
Rogue.
be your ooh, nice. So the
Okay.
Assassins are gonna be your sort of like heavy hitter rogues. They're
Yeah.
gonna be the ones that like do all the damage. Like
They're
I
literal
believe
assassins.
Vax was an assassin, right? He rolled like I think there was one kind of towards the end. I think that he rolled like I think it was like 87 points of damage in one
Oh
hit.
yeah,
Like
in
it was
one hit.
insane
Yep. Yep.
because he crit or something, and it was just ridiculous.
Well, yeah, because the nice thing about the assassin is if you surprise somebody, it's an auto crit. No matter what you roll on the die.
Yep.
Like if you hit them,
And at some
you
point,
crit.
rogues can't roll below like an 11,
Mm-hmm.
so that's always good. Let's see. Infiltration expertise starting at ninth level.
Oh yeah.
You get to so this one is good for like role
It's like
playing.
an alter ego.
Yeah, you can make like a false identity, which
Yeah,
there's a background that gives you that too. I think is it charlatan
I think
gives
so.
you that
Yeah.
ability as well. So like if you double up like say you're a charlatan rogue assassin, you can actually have like 2 fake identities.
Yep.
Like Scanlan with his the mustache that he drew on his finger where he was just
Burt Reynolds.
Burt Reynolds Esquire or something ridiculous like that.
That is cool too because I mean that's kind of James Bondifies the assassin a little bit. Like I can or like Mission Impossible, Ethan
Mhm.
Hunt.
Yep,
You can
yeah.
wear any
Welcome in,
disguise.
just another guy named Harry.
No.
An awesome screen name. Let's see.
It's
At
awesome.
level 13, you get to so this is good if you have like the forgery ability and like if your
hmm
campaign is one of those like more heavy role plays like Fixius is where you're leaning more into that role play aspect of things. This is good because you can like send missives as council people and things like that. Like
Yep.
honestly, I'm surprised that Elise doesn't have that ability. Like I feel like that'd be a perfect ability for them,
Yeah.
in all honesty.
Oh yeah, and then level 17.
That's when you get
When
to
you
do the big
attack and hit
damage.
a creature that is surprised, you have to make a Constitution saving throw, and if they fail, damage is doubled. So if you surprise someone, first of all, you auto crit. So
Depending on how
that's
the DM does it, that could be a lot right there because I
yeah,
do max plus roll. So some people
right.
do double the dice, some people just do double the damage. Like it just sort of depends.
Yeah. Well, and then if they fail that save,
Then it's even more.
even more. That's wild.
I think that's what Vax ended
Assassins.
up doing because he had like 2 levels of paladin, didn't he? Or no, he had
Yes,
or
he
did he have 3?
Oh, that's a good question.
I don't remember now. It's been
Maybe
a
he
while.
never got to 17 for. I'd have to look it up.
Maybe. I don't know. I
Um,
don't remember.
then his level 20 was Druid.
Oh, yeah. Yep, that's right. I remember.
Crit roll stats.
But yeah, so the assassins
In
are
the
going to be your
meantime,
like heavy hitters for if you want to do a lot of damage really quickly, they're going to be the ones that you want for that.
yeah,
And you still want to be like sneaky sneaky.
yeah.
Mm.
Let's see.
And then the last one is Arcane Trickster. So this was not, right? Not the Brave in season 2. They
Yes,
started out as an
yes.
Arcane Trickster. So this is
Yes.
nice if
Not was
you
an
like,
arcane trickster,
yeah.
and
This is nice if you
then
like magic with your sneaky because
yeah,
you get spells like uh,
you get
message
like
where you can like talk to each other. You get some other like you get to pick from the wizard spell list, which is great. So
yeah,
because wizards have some
and
pretty cool spells,
it's certain
and you get up to you get
schools
up
of
to fourth
magic.
level. Yes,
I think it's like illusion, maybe enchantment.
maybe. Um,
Because you can like
and this is the one that your mage hand can do extra things.
yeah,
At
is
third
it
level, it can do things. You can steal one
um,
object. You can retrieve an object. You can use thieves' tools with
enchantment,
it.
enchantment or illusion? It says
Yeah,
yeah,
which makes sense because you're using those to sort of like redirect attention and things like that. Hi, Kayla.
yeah,
Right now we're talking about arcane tricksters.
yes.
So we're talking about the some of the different spells that they can get, and at like level 3, they get it's called Mage Hand Ledgerman, which just basically means that you can do extra things with your mage hand that you can't do normally with mage hand.
Yeah.
Normally, it's just sort of a like I think it can lift 10 pounds and that's it.
Um, you can do kind of the ambush thing that assassins can do with a spell, which is
Hmm.
kind of cool. I didn't know.
Yep.
Probably
And
because
then
not either never used it or Sam didn't read their character sheet close enough.
probably both.
Probably both. Um, well, yeah, and then at 13, you can use your mage hand to distract people so
Hmm.
that you get
Which
automatic advantage.
I think. Oh no, they weren't high enough level yet, but I do remember the episode where they were in oh, what the heck was the name of that town? I don't remember now, but they were in that town with the Platinum Dragon Sanctuary, and Jester painted it a bunch of different colors,
Oh,
and they were trying to
yes.
escape. It was
Uh,
amazing.
what?
No, is it Rexentrum?
Zadash!
Zadash. Okay, I couldn't remember which one it was. It was
Good
one of those two.
lord. Welcome to Artemis and Emily try to remember the entire history of Critical Role while talking about classes from the PHP. Uh,
I mean, we're doing pretty good.
um, also, by the way, Vax was only a level 13 rogue.
Really? Oh wow. For some reason,
Had
I thought he was way
six
higher than that.
levels, 6 levels of Paladin and one
And
of
one of
Druid.
Druid because of Keyleth. It was so
Yeah.
cute. I cried so hard. All right. And then at
Rogues are
level
really fun, I will say.
yeah, and so then at level 17 for them, you get to this is where you get to do a little bit extra as a spellcaster. Immediately after a creature casts a spell that targets you or includes you in its area of effect, you get to use your reaction to force that creature to make a saving throw with its spellcasting ability modifier. And then on a failed save, you actually steal the knowledge of that spell if it's at least first level. So it doesn't work if it's a cantrip, but if it's a first level or higher, you actually steal that spell, like for yourself.
For the next 8 hours, you know the
Yep.
spell. So someone could counterspell you, and then you would have counterspell
Yeah,
for
and
eight
they
hours.
can't use that spell for 8 hours.
Oh, that's wild.
Yeah, that's really
It's
cool.
like that's like Rogue in X-Men.
Yeah, kind of. Yep, where
She
she
like
borrows
takes
of
your
people's
power.
abilities. Yep.
That's cool.
That's
Okay,
basically what my
I'm
MCC
more
character
sold on
does.
this.
It's basically what my MCC character does
Really?
is yeah, her ability to is it's genetic splicing. So basically she just like suction cups onto this other creature, steals one of their abilities and they can't use it for like a certain number of hours afterwards. So,
It's so
it's pretty
freaking
cool.
cool. Hey, don't count us out, Kayla. Maybe someday it will become a Critical Role show. You just
Oh
never
god.
know.
I don't know that we're ever going to be that cool, but we'll
I
try.
mean, I could talk about Critical Role for a really long time. No one wants to listen to that.
Nope.
Rogues are really fun, though. I will say, because I'm usually the kind of person that loves a spellcaster, because I just like the complicatedness of trying to figure out what to do when you have so much in front of you.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, action
like
economy and
finding
that
that
sort of thing.
perfect spell. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, like finding that perfect spell or the perfect combination of things
Like
to
what you
do
did
whatever you need to do.
with the book and the air elemental. You have to tell everybody what you did because that was so
Okay,
great and I was so
okay.
proud of you for figuring
Well,
out
it
how to
took
get
me a
around
while to
that.
figure it out because I was in a stressful situation,
Actually really didn't.
and I
Like
was
in game time it only took you about 10 minutes. Like you did really well. Like you thought
oh
of that
well,
really
okay,
fast.
that's kind of a long time. Um, the book that I have, it can cast a number of spells, and one of them, I basically I was trying to figure out how to get us all caught up with the people who had latched on to these demons, and
Party
were
had
flying through
split.
the air with a injured dragon and
Yes, the party had
getting
split
hurt.
two ways.
Um, and so I was like, well, maybe because I can cast Conjure Elemental. It's like, could an elemental like carry us? Because your elemental has a flying speed of like 90 or something.
Mhm.
And there were too many of us, so that
Right.
couldn't happen. And then I was like, it took me a hot second because I had to make sure also it wasn't concentration because Conjure Elemental is concentration. Um, but I cast Tensor's floating disc under my friends because it can hold up to 500 pounds. It stays like 20 feet behind you as long as you're not going over too much terrain. That I realized that's also why I had to drop it when we got caught up. Because it can't go like vertical
Mhm.
very much. But basically, I was able to get the air elemental to pick me up, and then I had like a invisible wagon of friends behind me, always 20 feet behind.
And you guys were booking it across the city too.
So I accidentally turned, well, not accidentally, I intentionally, with magic, turned us into a magical train. Oh, posture
It
check.
was great. I was
And group hydrate.
very happy. Yep. Damn it, Agni. Why are you like this? Ugh. All right. Yeah, so rogues are cool. They're very versatile in the things that you can do with them. They have
Yeah,
good combat skills as well as like role play skills too, like role play options for them depending on which one you go
yeah.
with, which is good. Like if your campaign is like mine and it's heavy role play, or if you're more like the campaign that Agni used to run where it's combat heavy, rogues work really well in both of those situations.
Situations, yeah. And outside of the PHB, there are also a lot of other really good subclasses, so rogues do have a lot of really good options.
Next up, everybody's favorite glass cannons, the sorcerers.
Sorcerers!
Sorcerers
Uh,
are the ones that like if you're gonna get squashed, it's gonna be because you're a sorcerer. Like I love
or a
them.
wizard.
They're great.
Uh,
They just get squished a lot. And
they only get a
depending
d6 hit die,
yep.
so
But they do
weak
get up to
little.
ninth level spells, which is pretty dope. Like if you
Yes.
go all the way up to level 17, I think is when you get your first ninth level spell. So yeah.
Yeah.
And they also have this thing called meta magic, which it gives you the ability to like do special things with your spells, if I remember correctly. The way like you can twin
Yeah.
spells and you can make them stronger, or I think you can increase the distance on some of them.
Yep.
Um,
Uh, the thing with so like wizards can learn any number of spells and then prepare different ones every day, and like clerics and druids and I think paladins and artificers also are the same way, where like you have a set list, you choose different ones each time. With spellcasters like sorcerers and bards, you just have the spells that you have, especially because sorcerers, it's supposed to come from like who you are, like it's inherent magical ability.
yeah, versus like wizards are learned magic and
Right.
warlocks are the sugar babies of the magical world. So,
Exactly.
my
So
Amazon
like,
package just got here, so keep talking.
okay, so so with sorcerers, because you only have a limited number of spells, like you can only learn so many things. You have to pick what you pick is what you get forever. And I think there might be something that lets you change a spell out at a level up or something, but like you don't get to change them every day like some of the other spellcasters can. But that meta magic option is really what makes sorcerers versatile, because when you use the meta magic abilities, you get like, I think you get two at level 3, and then you get a third one at level 10 and a fourth one at level 17. And so you can choose like careful spell, where if you're the kind of person that's prone to casting fireball in a room full of your friends, um, you can you can kind of shape it to protect your friends so they take less damage, or like they automatically succeed on a saving throw. Um, you can extend the time the spell lasts. You can make it harder for someone to pass the save on one of your spells. You can quicken a spell so that you can do it as a bonus
Bonus
action.
action versus an action.
Um, yeah, or you can like double it. You can also do subtle spell, which is can be kind of handy for certain role playing situations, and I have seen people use it before,
Yeah, because it
where
makes you not have to use the verbal or the somatic
for
components.
somatic,
So
and
if your
it's
like
also
hands are
really
tied
nice.
up or you can't
Yes,
talk.
exactly. It's also really nice if you're either trying to hide that you're casting a spell, or if you're trying to like if someone traps you or something. I think there was a Dimension 20 season where they had a wild magic sorcerer, and they were able to use subtle spell even after they were like silenced or something like that,
Mm,
um or like strained.
yep.
They were able to still cast spells because they had subtle spell, and it was very handy.
Yeah. And so like your the origins of your sorceress abilities, that is it comes from there's two options in the player's handbook. There's the draconic bloodline, which basically means that you're like a descendant of a dragon somewhere in your family, because we all know how dragons be like in humans. And there's all that. um and it gives you get resistance to the damage type associated with that dragon.
Yeah,
Obviously black dragons are acid based, silver dragons are lightning, or wait, no, what are silver? They're cold.
cold. Yeah,
Bronze are lightning, blue is lightning, obviously green is poison, red it's fire.
poison. I
Oh,
always
now
find it
you're
very,
awake. Of course you're awake now.
I always find it very interesting that there is no metallic poison dragon.
Yeah. But also, I don't know. I guess, see, to me, poison always seems more of a like quote unquote evil ability
Mm,
or something like that, because generally speaking, chromatic dragons are more towards the
good.
evil end of, or I mean, no, chromatic
Oh,
dragons are
yes.
more towards the evil end of things,
Medicaid. Yes,
and
you're right.
metallic dragons are more towards the
Good.
good side. And actually, in my campaign, I have two silver dragons that are king and queen of the country that you guys like call home base, and
Yeah.
one of them actually just died 2 sessions ago.
Rest in peace, King.
It's fine. You guys are gonna fix it. It's fine.
Fine. We're fine. I do want to take a moment because Rick said wizards are more squishy, in my opinion. And I think maybe that's because, like, in the player's handbook, they suggest that your secondary ability score, like your second high ability score, if you're a sorcerer, is
Institution.
Constitution.
Yeah. So at least you have
Sorcerers,
more hit points that way, but like wizards, you're just
right?
a squishy nerd.
Yeah. And like I think sorcerers, like the ability to be able to hold concentration is really important.
Yeah. A
So
lot of their spells,
maybe
I
that's
think,
why.
are concentration.
Yeah.
So,
Interesting. Anyway, maybe that's why.
um, but
Maybe
with
it's the
your
picture in the book. 'Cause that guy looks jacked.
Spessa is still using me as a bridge. Actually, right now I don't know what she's doing. I think she's pouting. But um, with your
You do
draconic
need to watch it.
with your draconic bloodline, you also get see. So you when you cast a spell that like deals with the type of damage of the dragon that you chose, you get to add your charisma modifier to one damage roll of that spell, which is pretty cool. And you can also spend
Oh,
a sorcery spell to gain resistance to that for an hour. So,
and maybe also Rick is thinking of draconic bloodline sorcerers because they get draconic resilience, and each level their hit point maximum increases by 1 hit point as well.
oh, yep, I guess so. I guess I didn't really think about that.
I never
When
knew
you aren't
that
wearing armor.
because here's the thing. I For being someone who loves Dungeons and Dragons as much as I do, I've never been that into dragons.
Really? Oh, I love dragons.
I've never been that into dragons, and I have never had any desire to play a draconic sorcerer. Sorry.
I've loved dragons. Like I remember one of the first stories that I can remember reading from like I don't know if your school did this, but like when we were in middle school, we had these like English books that we like kept in our classroom that had a bunch of like different stories in them and stuff that we had to read. And one of the stories that was in there, and I could never find any reference to this story ever again, but this story stuck with me so much because it was about dragons, where it was like this little boy who
Oh.
was he was like with other people who were learning how to be dragon riders, and every day these kids would go to the hatching grounds where these eggs were, and they would like talk to the eggs and let the eggs get to know them,
Oh.
so that when the eggs hatched they would choose them as riders. Well, there was this one egg that was like it was special because it was different from all the other eggs, and the biggest bully in the class, he thought that that was going to be his dragon. And so like he wouldn't let any of the other kids touch it. But this kid, he kept sneaking by and like gently touching the egg and like talking to it soothingly. And so when the eggs hatched, that dragon refused to pick a rider until that kid showed up and picked that kid. So like the scrawny little kid got picked over
Aw.
the bully. And for whatever reason that story stuck with me my entire life. I still remember that.
Do you know the name of it?
I
Because it
don't
sounds really
anymore.
familiar.
I don't, not anymore. But I've never been able to find any reference to it since then. And I've looked for it a few times. But for whatever reason that always stuck with me, and I've
Oh.
always loved dragons and actually was born in the year of the dragon, like on the Chinese
Hey.
calendar. So
Nice.
I'm a dragon person.
That's fair.
But level
I mean,
14
they
you
are
get
cool.
wings.
Yeah, who doesn't want to have a flying speed? I mean, let's
Right?
be real.
And then at level
Everyone wants to
18,
fly.
you get to do so some dragons can cause fear, and you get the ability to do that level 18, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's actually Although
spend sorcery
the
points to do
only
it,
thing
but
the only thing I'll say with that is that by the time you get to that high of a level, most of the things that you're fighting
fighting are immune to
are
fear
immune to
anyways.
fear. So be like an earlier timeline on that.
Also, Rick says that the Draconic Sorcerer is the best. I disagree because I love the chaos of a of a wild magic sorcerer.
Yeah, I mean, me too. I love. If I did play a sorcerer, I would be very tempted to do wild magic because it's just so like you don't know what could happen. It's just so great. And I would really honestly request to there's like so mention 20 when they do the unsleeping city they have a wild magic sorcerer.
Mhm.
They do a homebrewed thing where each time they cast a spell and they don't not wild enough. What are you talking about, Rick? You're absolutely out of your
It
mind.
is if your DM
Uh,
remembers to do it. Because once a turn, the DM can make you roll on that wild magic spell.
yes.
If you cast a spell, the DM can make you roll on that table. And the stuff that can happen on that table is
So great.
ridiculous.
It's
Like you could turn
ridiculous.
into a sheep or a houseplant or
Yes.
any number of things. A
Could be
cabbage,
anything. You could grow a beard of feathers.
right?
Um thing that
Or
I
accidentally cast fireball on your friends. It's fine.
it could happen. The thing that I loved that they did in Dimension 20 with the Wild Magic Sorcerer was every time they cast a spell, and when they rolled, nothing happened. They increased the chances that it would happen next time. So, like in the book, it's just if you roll a one, you do something wild magic-y. But when they did it, if they like you roll a one, then something happens. They roll a five. They go, okay, great. Next time you cast a spell, it's on a one or a two. Then the next time after that, it's a one, two, or three. And so the chances, it's like as if the magic is building up and eventually it will come out. And I think they did that because they have a short campaign structure. And so they wanted to make sure that if someone was going to be doing that, that it might happen. But also, it just seems like more fun. Like, why be a wild magic sorcerer if you don't get to use the wild magic table? If you never roll a one on that roll.
I have my book open in front of me so I can see what we're talking about, and Pasta has decided that's where she's going to lay down now. So,
She's like, this is my spot.
ma'am, I'm trying to read that. She's like, no, no, you're not. But yeah, wild magic is just like if you have a DM that actually remembers to do these things, like stuff can
Yeah,
just go crazy, you know?
great.
Like because they could literally
Um,
every time you cast a spell, they could make you roll on that table. So,
Also at level one, can what is it? An advantage on an attack roll, ability check, or saving throw, where you can kind of manipulate chaos in your favor. It's kind of cool.
mhm,
And then at level 6, you get that bend luck where you can use 2 sorcery points to add a d4.
yep.
And I think you can do that to anyone
Yeah, I think so.
as a bonus or penalty. Hmm,
Which is cool.
that's kind of cool.
Level 14, you gain a little bit of control over it. Whenever you roll on the magic surge table, you can roll twice and take either number. So it gives you a little bit more option where you're not just
Yeah.
blowing up stuff with fireball all the time
Yeah.
or turning into
I
houseplants.
I think because they kind of did something like that in D20 as well, where the DM would say like that the outcome he would give like a vague explanation of like it would either be something that would help you do this or something that might do more damage or like something like that.
Mm,
That's kind of cool.
yep. And then at level
Then
18, you get spell bombardment, which means the harmful energy of your spell intensifies for when you roll damage for a spell. and roll the highest number possible on any of the dice. Choose one of those dice, roll it again, and add that number again. So you get to like it's kind of like oh, what is that where you it's like in lands where if you roll a 6 on your die, you get to roll that die again.
Oh, yeah, when it explodes.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
There's another game that you play that does that too, but I don't remember what it is.
I think it happens on
Is
bikes.
it Kids on Yeah, maybe.
No,
Maybe it's Kids on Bikes, yeah.
no.
Um
Yes? No. Maybe.
some of the things that you can do like that you can get
Oh,
as
thank you. Kids on bikes,
yeah, Kids on
yes.
Bikes.
Those
Yep.
two.
So some of the things that can happen is like uh a
Really have to.
Modron chosen and controlled by the DM appears in an occupied space. You cast Fireball as a third level, which could really suck if you're like a low level party.
Cast
Um
grease centered on yourself.
yep.
Love that. I
Um
love that.
your age changes a number of years. Um
Bunch of flumps show up and
yep.
they're frightened of you.
I love Flumps so much. Like Affy made us fight Flumps and I'm still mad about it because
No!
she put them in this book of memories and they apparently were mad at the person whose like memory we were in, so they attacked us and I'm
Oh.
still mad about it because I fucking love Flumps. Like no, you're not making me fight Flumps. I love them. They're squishy little things and I love them. I was still mad.
Uh,
um you
one that
glow
has
with a
happened
bright light.
one that has happened twice on Critical Role without the use of a wild magic sorcerer, but just by wild magic in general, has been your hair falls out but grows back within 24 hours.
Yep. Or I like the one where you cast polymorph on yourself. If you fail the saving throw, you turn into a sheep. You cast fly on a random creature within 60 feet of you. Your size increases by one category.
Or you
Um,
regained all expended sorcery points.
yep.
That's a good one.
What do you get? So for on a 1 or a 2, you get roll on this table at the start of each of your turns for the next minute, ignoring this result on subsequent turns. So it's sort of like a free
Yep.
pass, but then you have to roll a lot after that.
Yep.
So
And that's the sorcerer as seen by the PHB.
yeah. Next up, the magical sugar babies of the world, the warlocks.
This is the one that I know almost nothing about because I never wanted to play one.
In the UK, you eat flumps. What do you mean you eat flumps?
What?
What are
Said
flumps
that.
over there? Liz, what are flumps over there? And he says
What is
that
that?
what sucks about 5e long rest is like a reset. Like, I guess. I don't I mean I love that,
Yeah.
but I guess. Um so yes, warlocks. They are the magical sugar babies of the world. They get their powers from some sort of
Patron.
other being. Depends on, like what they choose as their patron. There's an expanded list now for them as
Hmm.
far as like what kind of warlock you can be. Um so warlocks, like, to me, I never wanted to play a warlock for like the longest time because they're a marshmallow candy, that makes sense. Um
Oh.
I never wanted to play one because they pasta don't. They always had sort of that negative connotation to them of like they get their powers from like evil beings or tricky beings and that sort of thing, and I never really had any interest in that. But now in Jeremy's Sunday game, my character, her soul got pulled out of her body and stuck in a canopic jar, and her body is actually
Hmm.
being possessed by somebody who's a warlock. So now I'm playing a warlock instead of a bard.
Yeah.
So
I will say, mechanically speaking, I do like you hardly get any spell slots. You do get them back on a short rest,
which is nice.
which is nice. And you get highest level that it can be cast at, or like any spell you cast using those spell slots is a specific level, It levels up with you. So like it's always a 5th level spell or it's always a whatever,
Mhm.
which is kind of cool. Um I again, this is a Dimension 20 reference, so sorry for anyone that hasn't seen it. But there's a group of warlocks in season 2 of Fantasy High that are pirates,
Yes.
and they have to pay money for spell slots,
Oh my
like
goodness.
actual money. So great.
That's
It's so
awesome.
freaking funny.
Like, I am here
Um,
for that.
it's,
Rick
it's
says, "Magic
hilarious.
me,
It's
patron
hilarious.
daddy." Yes, exactly. That's
Exactly.
basically what it is.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, so my warlock is the undead patron because my
Oh,
patron is actually a mummy lord
nice.
from Harakir. So,
I do have one character that multiclassed into Warlock because of story reasons, and she's the Undying Patron because she hates
that's
undead and it gives you protection against undead.
that's the acceptable reason to multi-class into a warlock,
Yeah,
like I don't know. I have mixed opinions on warlocks because they're cool, but
they are
also
cool.
their spell economy just sucks. Like, I
Yeah.
wish that they got more spells for
Now, the thing that does
things that
make
they
up
need.
for that,
Eldritch
those,
Blast, obviously. Say the line, Warlock.
well, Eldritch Blast. Yeah. Um, Coincidentally, my Warlock does not have Eldritch Blast
Really?
because
Hi,
her
Tisk.
charisma is kind of junk.
Okay.
I mean, it's high enough to be multiclassed, but
Yeah.
that's it. So, like, anything that requires an attack or a save, she doesn't really have. They're all more like illusory and manipulative and stuff like that. But the invocations can make up for that because some of those you get spells use an unlimited amount.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, in my case, my character, Fiara, can cast Silent Image as
Okay.
much as she wants. And she
And
also has the Minor Illusion cantrip, so she can add sounds to her silent image for free. And I love it.
hi, Tisk. How's it going? But yeah, so let's see. Warlocks get a D8 as far as their hit points go, which is pretty great. Um, they're a little less squishy than, say, a sorcerer or a wizard. And I believe warlocks can wear armor, whereas sorcerers cannot. And I don't think wizards can wear
Yes,
armor either
wizards
without some
can't
kind of
either.
penalty. Um and it actually kind of reminds me a little bit of like Skyrim where there are some spells you can't cast while you're wearing armor.
Yeah,
Like if you're wearing
especially
armor.
especially if you're not proficient, because then you can't maintain concentration.
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
Um and then
Now
at
in
level 1 you
terms
get to pick out your otherworldly patron. So you
of
get
patron,
your choice for the PHB, at least your choice is the Archfey, which is obviously Feywild. They're a little less on the evil end of things and more on the chaos end of things. Like,
nice.
if you just want to be a chaos being without being as squishy as a sorcerer, Warlock with a pact for the Archfey is probably your best bet. Um, and then there is the Fiend, which is obviously like demons and devils and that sort of
Devils.
thing. And then the Great Old One, which I always just assume is Cthulhu
Yeah.
because
Some sort of giant eldritch being.
yes, some sort
Yeah.
of horror that it's just unfathomable, and yeah, it's just great. And you just, it's fine. It's Cthulhu. Your sugar daddy is Cthulhu,
Yeah.
like
It's
he
great.
should be.
Um, how did I get out of this? Oh, there we go.
And then you get your pact magic. So you
Yeah.
get cantrips at that level. You get to choose two cantrips from the spell list, which if So Eldritch Blast is a good spell because it levels up with you, like as far as damage die goes, or the number of like darts that you can do or something like that. Which is good. And it's
Yeah.
basically the warlock bread and butter, unless you play it like the one that Emily has. Um,
Yeah. She has like
and
8 cantrips already. She doesn't need any.
yeah,
She doesn't
cantrips
need
are,
Eldritch Blast.
it's fine. Um, you also get
There's also those packed boons that come
yes,
with, but that's at level 3.
yes. So that's like
It
your
comes with.
pact of chain, pact of the blade. Like it sort of depends on how you want to play your warlock. So like
Yeah.
pact of the chain gives you a familiar, which is great. That's what Aya is. She is pact of the chain with
Okay.
an undead monkey as her little familiar. Is a little skeletal monkey that came out of a canopic jar when she woke up. And yeah, it's great.
Great.
It's great. Um Pact of the
Back to the
Blade
Blade is like
is good. That's
Fjord,
what Ford was. Fjord.
Fjord, Fjord, from campaign 2 of Critical Role was Pact to the Blade, and was also a Hexblade Warlock, which is not in this book.
Hmm.
And
So
then
that's the one where you get to. So Pact of the Blade is the one where, like, if you get like a sword or something like that, you can make that your pact weapon.
disappear. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. And then Pact of the Tome.
that's where
I
you get
don't know that much about
That's the one where you get a grimoire
the
that's full of
Grimoire.
spells.
Yeah.
You choose 3 cantrips from
Oh, you
any
get
class's
three.
spell list, and when the book is on your person, you can cast those at will, which is pretty cool. They don't count against the cantrips that you already know. Um, and if you lose your Book of Shadows, you spend an hour to replace it. Um,
There is another pact, I think, in Tasha's.
yeah,
Um,
there. I mean, there's a couple of other packs in the other books and stuff like
yeah.
that we'll talk about eventually, but like I don't
In
remember
this
what the
book,
one in
this
Tasha
is
is.
all we got. Talisman, I think.
Is it maybe? Yeah, something like that. And then obviously you get your your ability score improvements or feats at the regular levels that you would get them at level 11. Mystic Arcanum, which you choose one 6th level spell from the Warlock spell list. You can cast your Arcanum spell once without expending a spell slot. You must finish a long rest to do this. I actually don't know what a 6th level Warlock spell is. Like,
Oh, I don't know.
I have never played one that high level, so I don't know. I think Aya is level
Either.
7. So,
Let's find out. Spells.
and then at level 20, you get Eldritch Master, which you can draw on your inner reserve of mystical power. You can spend 1 minute basically asking your magical sugar daddy for more magic. You regain
Give me
spell
more
slots
magic,
with this
please.
feature. So,
More magic, please.
yes, my magic, please.
Money, please.
Yeah.
Oh, Arcane Gate. Circle
Okay,
of Death.
there you go.
Uh, wow.
Really, Circle
Create
of Death?
undead.
I guess, yeah. That's wild.
Flesh to stone. Oh, that's where you're basically a Medusa.
Yep.
Um, all those investiture spells that I think are in another book are actually pretty freaking cool. Mass suggestion. Handy.
I just saw something about that. So they were talking about bards because bards can also cast mass suggestion at a certain level, but like they were talking about how it's the bard and basically they just make people do the cha cha slide for 24 hours.
Cha-cha slide them to death.
Yeah, pretty
Uh,
much.
they also get like true seeing, soul cage.
Hmm.
'Cause, all you need is a warlock with soul cage.
Like you do.
Summon fiend.
Oh, I think did Ford do that? He summoned a
Um,
Bulgara or something, right?
there is also summon greater demon.
Oh,
Summon
yep.
fiend like has a stat block with it.
Okay.
You can choose either demon or devil,
Yep.
or you can choose a Yugoloth.
Oh, okay. That's fun.
Um, you
Those are
know, Ford
interesting.
did Arcane Gate before.
Yep.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
so then like after that is your patrons. So the first
hmm.
one that's listed is the Archfey. This is like um
Feywild folk.
yeah, any sort of fairy from the Feywild or basically any sort of upper level fey creature could do this. Like if you're familiar with Shakespeare at all, Tatiana and Oberon, they're considered Archfey. Um they are able to sort of be your
Oh, yeah,
patron.
yes.
Uh what was the Artie from campaign 2 of
Tagging,
Credo?
yeah.
Yep, Artagan. Um
I mean, yeah, a hag probably could be
no
up
man.
there,
Oh yeah, for sure.
depending on
That would be an interesting way to
who
go
wants
with
to
it, I
play
guess,
it.
because technically hags are they could be from the Feywild. A lot of them
Yeah.
are. Um, that'd be an
Let's
interesting way to
see.
go with it.
Queen of
Don't
Arid
tell Jeremy.
Darkness, right? Well, yeah, and it says ancient hags. Yeah.
Yep. Um, Prince of Fools. Yeah. So the Queen or the Prince of Frost, which is basically like Jack Frost.
Yeah.
Um, and you get more spells with this patron. I mean, you get more spells
Yep.
with all of them, but with this one, you get like Fairy Fire, Sleep, Calm Emotions. Phantasmal Force is cool when it works.
Yeah.
It doesn't always work though. um,
Greater invisibility. That's nice.
yep,
Dominate person.
always good if you like being a little chaos bean. Um,
These are very bardic
yeah, and
vibe.
you get like it's basically Misty Step. You can teleport 60 feet away.
Hmm.
Um,
Um,
you can't. Let's
have this
see.
kind of charming effect on people
Yep,
at level 10,
you're immune
and
to
you're
being
immune to being
charmed, which is
charmed.
great. And then at level 14, you can make a creature make a
Oh,
Wisdom saving throw, and it is either charmed or frightened, which is pretty cool.
cool.
The next patron is the Fiend. So this is like your demons and devils sort of thing.
Lots of
This,
fire-based
yep, you
spells.
get Burning Hands, Command, Fireball,
Yep.
Wall of Fire, which is pretty cool. Flame Strike is pretty cool too. Hallow is pretty good too, if I remember correctly what that spell does. That one, that can be an interesting spell to use.
Yeah, it's an
Um,
interesting spell for a warlock.
Rick's over here again. You had me at chaos. And then for this one, you get when a creature when you reduce a hostile creature to 0 hit points, you gain temporary hit points from that. Um, you can make an ability check when you make an ability check or saving throw, you can use this feature to add a D10 to your roll.
Ooh,
Resilience, so you gain resistance to a certain damage type until you choose a different one. And
interesting.
you use that on a long or short rest. Um, but you aren't immune to silver weapons, so that's good.
Yeah,
And then hurl through hell. What is that one? That one is you can use this
that's
feature to
wild.
instantly transport the target through the lower planes. The creature disappears and hurtles through a nightmare landscape. At the end of your turn, the target returns. So basically, you just like mentally send them through hell and back.
Yep. They take 10d10 psychic damage as a result. Come on up here, kitten. Come on. Want to
And
come up?
then the last patron is the Great Old One, which basically I always assume that this is Cthulhu, like because just the
Yeah.
way it's described, I just assume that it's Cthulhu. And with this one,
It
you
does
get Dissonant
seem.
Whispers, Tasha's Hideous Laughter,
Yeah.
Phantasmal Force again. Everard's Black Tentacles is pretty good. Um, Dominate Beast, Dominate Person. That's pretty cool.
Does say like
Um, you
Here's
learn how to
Doom could
telepathically
be.
speak to people.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
you magically ward yourself against attack at level 6. So if the attack misses you, your next attack roll against that creature has advantage. Um, Thought shield, your thoughts can't be read. So that's really good for like role playing situations
Maybe.
if you're dealing with mind flayers and that sort of thing. Which, if you're in the domains of dread, you deal with mind flayers apparently, because mind flayers.
Yeah.
Um, and then at level 14, you can create a thrall, which is pretty cool.
That's cool. It'd be interesting to have like an elder brain patron. That's this.
Yeah,
That
be
you can
weird, but yeah, it'd
basically
be cool.
we're like
You've been accepted
what
into
are
the hive
the
mind.
what are the creatures that can also like implant you with a one of the it's like the
Blods.
yes, slods.
Hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah, those are pretty cool. Um,
Ooh,
yeah, they're pretty cool, and you can communicate with your thrall as long as you are on the same plane of existence. So that's
that's
pretty
cool.
cool. And then you come to the Eldritch Invocations, and there's 8 million Eldritch Invocations, and we could spend all day talking about them
Yeah.
because there's so many
They're
of
not
them, and then
important.
they keep adding Eldritch Invocations to them. Like some of them are
You know
pretty
what you
cool.
could do? Read the book.
Right, yeah. Like
Or go
some of
online.
them are pretty cool. Like I like Eyes of the Runekeeper because it means that you can read everything. Hello, kitten. Means that you can read all writing. Um there's like Mask of Many Faces, so you can cast disguise self at will without having to
I
spend a
will.
spell slot.
Okay.
Um
Okay.
some of
Now,
them they have
come
like
on.
prerequisites
Hold
for them. Like you obviously have to have like Eldritch Blast for some of them.
on.
Dang it, Agni, and your group hydrates.
Group is 2 people.
Hi, baby girl. Hello, kitten.
You're immune. Not immune.
Yes, Devil Sight is very good. That gives you dark vision
And,
out to 120 feet.
and you can
Um,
see in magical darkness.
yes. hmm
It's awesome.
Um, Voice of the Chain Master is really cool because you get to communicate telepathically with your familiar and you can see through their senses, which is pretty cool. Witch Sight gives you like you see the true form of any shape changer, so that's pretty cool.
Cool.
But there's a whole
Lots of
bunch of them,
options.
and there's even more now, like with Tasha's
Yeah,
and all of the other compendiums that are out.
million other books.
Um, and then last but not least, we have Wizard. So do you want to like take a break real quick before we start this? Because there's so many of them. We'll come back in like
Yeah,
5 minutes.
take a pre-wizard break. I'll
All right.
probably, yeah, go to the bathroom.
All right. We'll be right back, guys.
Wizard break.
Yeah. Okay, we back. We give the kittens scratches, and we're back.
We're back. Hello, everybody. We're back, and we have your wizards. I have a cat in front of me, so I can't
I have a
move the
pasta.
computer. I'm sorry.
You're so helpful. You cannot sit on my book because I need it. All right. So now we've moved on to the final class in the PHB, Wizards,
Wizard.
and they take a little bit because there's a lot of them. Past over here, kung fu
Wizards.
kicking stuff.
Um, they also have a D6 like sorcerers, where
Jeez.
sorcerers get proficiency in con saves. Wizards get proficiency in wisdom saves.
Hmm.
Interesting
They are
fact.
the squishy nerds of the D&D
They are
world.
the squishy nerds. They are the indoor kids. Very epitome, the bookish type. And depending on your campaign, they might also be the expensive type. And it just
Very
depends
much
on
so.
how your DM runs that. Actually, clerics can also be the expensive type. Again,
Yeah.
depends on how your DM does that.
Druids too a little bit with some of their spells because druids can cast like Hero's Feast, and that's an expensive spell.
It is expensive, yeah.
So
Nice thing about
that would be
wizards.
really good
Well,
for Aster.
um, yeah, that's true. Um, one of the nice things about wizards is they are one of the few intelligence-based
Yep. Yeah, there aren't really a
classes.
lot of them.
There aren't really a lot. It's like wizards and artificers. And to some degree, rogues, I would say. Because you need to be able to make those investigation checks.
Yep.
Depending on how you play your bard, you could also be a high intelligence bard, but it
Yeah.
just depends. Um, but yeah, wizards, your highest stat should be intelligence. Because they study for magic. Um, and they learn it.
Yes, they are the nerdy kids who study in the library that, you know, they're the kids that you want to copy their homework.
Yeah. One of the nice things about wizards is they're one of the few classes pre-Tasha's that had a way to regain spell slots at a short rest.
Yes. Which is arcane
Um,
recovery, right?
yes, I think sorcerers can with sorcery points
Yes.
also, but
Because I think
um,
Elise does that on Friday nights. I think that Elise has used
yeah,
that for because when you guys were casting all those sending spells last night, I
yes,
believe that Elise was using sorcery points to regain spell slots.
regain spell slots,
So
yeah. And then the Circle of Land Druid. That's one of the nice things about them is you get spell slots back on a short rest. Wizards are also one of the very few to choose their subclass at level 2.
I think Druid is the other one.
Yeah. Rangers, or do they do level 3?
I
Anyway.
don't remember. I'll look. But
You
yeah,
choose your wizards choose their subclass from the various schools of magic. So you basically have like a specialty in one
Rangers
of
get
the
there at
schools of
3.
magic. Oh, okay. So it is, yeah.
Or just
Druids
let
and
me be
wizards.
chaotic dumb as a rogue. Yeah. Chaotic dumb. I like that.
Yeah.
I'm what's called chaotic clumsy because I constantly injure myself on myself.
Yeah, I've done that too. Once pulled a muscle turning off my alarm waking up.
I turned and sneezed and popped my rib out of place. Like it was great.
Ran
Like
into a bench in gym class once and was on crutches for 3 weeks.
oh goodness.
You and me, kid.
Yep.
We'll go far. I also shut my own hand in a car door. Job.
Like
Anyway.
what one of us 90s kids didn't do that at least once?
I mean, there, there.
Okay,
Um,
so as far as like base level things that wizards get, like obviously you get your arcane tradition at level 2, and then you get your standard like ability score improvements. And then at level 18, you get spell mastery, which gives you certain spells that you can cast them at will.
so basically, you can pick like a first and second level spell and treat them like cantrips.
And spending 8 hours in study, you can exchange one or both of the spells.
Yeah.
Um and then at level 20 you gain signature spells, which means you can choose 2 third level spells in your spellbooks that you can basically do that with, right?
Yeah.
Cast them with like 2 third level spells in your spellbook as your signature spells. You always have these spells prepared, and they don't count a number against the number of spells that you have prepared, and you can cast them once at third level without expending a spell slot. But you get that back on a
That's
short rest, which is pretty cool.
It is cool.
So now we come to the
And
arcane
really,
traditions. There's a million of
yeah,
them.
there's a million. For starters, School of Abjuration. These are people that are protectors. They have an arcane shield. They
Mhm.
can pop up around yourself
And your
or
friends.
your friends. Um, it has hit points.
Liz, I see what you did there.
Level 6 is when you can pop it up in front of somebody else.
Yes.
If you would like a master class in Abjuration Wizards, Abria in Exandria Unlimited Calamity. Just look it up. Just watch those 4 episodes and see what she does. Because I'm pretty sure
And also
you
be
can
prepared to cry.
yes. I believe you can recharge the ward with hit points whenever you cast a spell.
Yes.
And she figured out a way to spam like abjuration spells using, I think, like ritual casting or something that
Yeah.
basically refilled her arcane ward super fast.
Yep. And so the one and only wizard that I've ever played was an abjuration wizard
Oh, okay.
because group mom for life, and I like to protect people. So.
Okay. Um, so
uh,
the first two abilities they have to do with that ward. It's
mhm.
second level you get the ward. At sixth level you can throw it up in front of somebody else within 30 feet of you.
At level 10, you can
Um,
cast an abjuration spell that requires when you cast it to that requires you to make an ability check as part of the casting. You add your proficiency bonus to that, so like counter spell or dispel
oh,
magic. And
that's
then at
nice.
14th level, you have advantage on saving throws against spells. Furthermore, you have resistance against the damage of spells, which is
That's
nice.
awesome. Especially because wizards be squishy.
Regardless of what level you
Real-
are, a wizard is squishy.
Yeah.
Second school is conjuration. So this has to do with like obviously conjuring things, cause duh.
Yeah.
And um
And being
you
all
get
teleporty.
yeah. So at second level or at second level when you choose this, you can conjure an inanimate object in your hand within 10 feet of you. So basically like you're able to like poof stuff from
Yeah.
close by. Um Sixth level you can teleport 30 feet, which is pretty cool. Um
Um,
10th level, if you're concentrating on a conjuration spell, your concentration can't be broken as a result of taking damage, which is really nice. Any creature, and then at 14th level, any creature that you summon or create with a conjuration spell has 30 temporary hit points, which is pretty cool because a lot of them are pretty squishy.
yeah.
So,
Um, the little gnome guy that I had them fight in the last episode of my Car Brouhaha was a conjuration wizard, technically. There you go.
so next up is School of Divination, and this is what Karini took 2 levels in, right?
Yes. Yep. Uh, because when you choose divination wizard at level 2, you get 2d20 rolls you can use to replace anything, any roll. It's as if you know the future, basically. So you roll them at the beginning of each day, and then you can choose to replace any attack roll, ability check, or saving throw by anyone that you can see using one of those rolls.
And so Dez in Mistwalkers, he was a divination wizard as well. His magic dealt
Nice.
with like reading tarot cards and that sort of thing. That's how he flavored his magic.
Yeah.
Um
I also just for like D&D Court. I don't know if you've ever listened to that. It's a thing that NADPA does, where people write into them and ask them questions about stuff. And they discovered that with these portent rolls, even if a creature has advantage on something, if you say that they get this roll,
that's what they
you
get.
just get it.
Yep.
It doesn't matter if they have advantage. It doesn't matter if they have like none of that matters. They just get this roll. That's the end. Which is kind of cool. You only get 2 per day.
Yeah.
And then at level 6, uh, divination spells help you. Casting a divination spell helps you regain spell slots, which is cool. So if you cast a divination spell of second level or higher using a spell slot, you regain 1 expended spell slot. It must be of a level lower than the one you cast and can't be higher than 5th level. So, like, if I had second level spell slots, I could regain a first level spell slot. by casting a second level divination spell.
Yeah, which is pretty cool.
Uh,
Um,
level
let's see. At level
10.
10, I don't remember what the level 10 is for this
Oh.
one.
You can use your action to increase your powers of perception. When you choose so, choose or when you do so, choose one of the following benefits. Dark vision, which gives you dark vision out to a range of 60 feet. Ethereal sight, which allows you to see into the ethereal plane within 60 feet of you. Greater comprehension, where you can read any language. Or see invisibility, where you can see invisible creatures and objects within 10 feet of you that are within line of sight. And then at level 14, you get a third portent roll instead of two.
Which is cool because then you can just
Yeah.
really mess with stuff. Which, like, it kind of reminds me a little, like, just a little bit of the Grave Domain Cleric ability where you can negate nat 20s, which is nice. You can turn any crit into a not crit, which
Mm-hmm.
is nice.
Yeah.
Um,
Um, honestly, like, even though it doesn't seem like that many, like two or three, it doesn't seem like that many.
we've
It's
seen it where
actually
it
quite
makes a
a lot.
difference.
It makes a
Like,
big difference.
even in Fixius, it's made a big difference. Where
Yeah.
like because you use one of your portent rolls when you banished Kezit, right? You made him fail the save
I,
so that
I don't know
he
if I had already
left.
used them by then. I think I had already used them by then, um, but I did make him fail a save on something else, if I
Yeah.
recall. It was like a something that had like a stunning effect or something like that, so he basically couldn't move.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Um
Then you at least get one round where you're like doing that much more damage or moving that much more without being impacted by what else is going on. So,
yeah, for sure, which is nice. Next up is the School of Enchantment. So enchantment is what Pumat Soul was in
yes.
season 2 of Critical Role.
Yeah.
He was able to like infuse items. They're similar to artificers that way, where they can help with that sort of thing. They can cast spells on people and items, I believe.
I think so.
I think they can make magic
Um,
items or something like that.
I
Which
think
is pretty
they
cool.
can harm people
Yep. Yeah, Hypnotic
at level
Gaze is one of their
2.
level 2 abilities, which is pretty cool. Um, Level
You can
6, they
use
gain the ability to make. There's a third make them make a wisdom save, and on the field, the creature or the
to
attacker
aim
must
at
target the
somebody else.
creature that's closest to it. So that's
Interesting.
pretty cool. Level 10, when you
Oh,
cast an enchantment spell of level 1 or higher, you can cast it on more than one. You can cast it on 2 targets.
it's like the twin spell
Yep.
ability of sorcerers, which if I recall, there was some sort
Oh,
of
hi Flaps! Welcome in. Thanks for the raid.
hey, welcome. Um, if I recall, there was an episode where they were fighting alongside Pumatsul, and Matt kept trying to use that split enchantment ability, but he
Yeah,
kept accidentally picking spells that weren't enchantment
enchantment
spells or
spells. Yeah, so it
something.
didn't work. Um, yeah,
And then at level 14, you can charm someone without them being aware of it.
yeah, which is pretty cool.
Which is actually dope.
Come in, Raiders. Welcome, welcome. We're just talking about wizards right now.
Hello.
We're going through the different schools of enchantment or
Wizard.
the different schools of magic for wizards and how squishy they are. Right now we're on School of Evocation. So evocation is like this is going to be like your burning
Wizard,
hands
yeah,
and
wizard make
cold
big boom.
spells. Yeah, pretty much.
These are your damage dealing spells.
These are the ones that like I think in the player's handbook they actually like mention military forces. So like these are your battle mages. These are the ones that are going to
Yeah.
be like out casting fire spells or cold spells or lightning spells or those kinds of
Yeah.
things. At second level Uh,
They can protect people, basically.
yep,
So you can choose a number of friends. This is for the wizard that says, I didn't ask how big the room was. I said I cast fireball. Like
exactly.
like Rick was saying earlier. This is the people that's like, yeah, I see my friends right next to them. I still cast fireball.
Yeah, exactly.
They
Don't worry
can
about it.
they'll succeed on their saves. They'll be fine.
Okay,
Uh
fun.
and then level 6, you can do damage with your cantrips. Even if they succeed on the saving throw, they take half damage from your cantrips. That's kind of cool. So you can still do damage even with a cantrip. Nothing more disappointing than like trying to throw out a cantrip because you have no spell slots left and it does absolutely nothing. So,
Exactly.
hey, want that? Be an evocation wizard.
um, yeah, so,
At level 10, you can add your intelligence mod to a damage roll.
yep,
An evocation
which is
spell.
good.
That's cool.
And then at level 14, you can increase the power of simpler spells. So when you cast a wizard spell of first through fifth that deals damage, you deal max damage.
Yeah.
And the first time you do so, you suffer no adverse effect. If you use this feature again before you finish the long rest, you take 2d12 necrotic damage for each level of the spell. So you could technically do it, you just might accidentally blow yourself up doing it. So,
Right.
you know, wizards be squishy, man. Like, I don't know
Yeah.
what to tell you.
Gotta be careful.
Um, Next is School of Illusion. I don't know that I've ever actually seen an illusion wizard played.
I think, I mean, technically not really played that much, but Astrid from Campaign 2,
Was she an illusion
NPC,
wizard? Okay.
was an illusion wizard.
Okay. Yeah, you really
Um,
don't see her very much in that, like,
yeah.
so I don't remember a lot of her
Um,
abilities.
at second level, you learn Minor Illusion,
Hmm.
and you can create both sound and an image with a single casting of the spell, which is
Yeah,
kind
which
of
is
cool.
cool because I think minor illusion is no sound, right? Or it's one or the
Um,
other.
it's one or the other because
Yeah.
you can like also make a smell technically, I think, or something
Okay.
like that.
Yeah.
But
Yep. And then at, let's see, at sixth level, when you cast an illusion spell that has a duration of a minute or longer, you can use your action to change the nature of that illusion. So change the parameters of the spell, provided that you can still see the illusion.
yeah.
Um,
Um,
Level 10, when a creature makes an attack against you, use your reaction to interpose the illusionary duplicate between the attacker and yourself. The attack automatically misses, and then the illusion dissipates. So that's pretty cool. That's like Jess's Jester's
yeah,
duplicate.
duplicate like the trickster cleric.
Yep. And then at level 14, you when you cast an illusion spell of first level or higher, you can choose one inanimate non magical object that is part of the illusion and make that object real.
That's cool.
You create an illusion. Oh, so like you can create an illusion over a bridge over a chasm and then make it real long enough for you to cross it.
Yeah.
So that's cool. The
Or
object
you
can't
can
deal
make it
damage or
real enough
otherwise harm anyone.
that someone thinks there's a bridge there, and
And
then
then
you
just let it go.
drop it.
Yep. It kind of is like a hallucinatory terrain that way. Where I think
Yeah.
in campaign one, Keyleth used that to like extend a cliff out, and then a bunch of people
Yep.
like fell off of it
Pull
because
off
it
of it,
yeah, because it looked
which is
real.
great.
Um,
So the object can't deal damage or otherwise directly harm someone. Yeah, but if you drop the bridge, that's not direct. That's indirect. That's fall damage, baby.
yeah.
Drop it like it's hot. I
Yep.
don't know what I'm saying now at this point.
Next up
I
is
cannot be held
necromancy.
responsible.
Necromancy is always kind of an interesting. an interesting school as far as like
Yeah.
role play options go, because a lot of places, so like in my campaign that I run on Friday nights, necromancy is illegal on the continent that you guys are on,
Yeah.
except for like cleric abilities that bring people back from the dead, but they can't bring them back as like zombies, obviously.
Right.
So, um,
Yeah, it's
but the
definitely, I
southern
mean,
continent it's actually legal. So,
it could be tricky to play a necromancer, but it is interesting to try. Like, for anyone that would be willing to make that attempt,
mhm.
very
I mean
interesting.
that's what Gern Blanston was,
Yeah.
and he was
And
just
he was
ridiculous.
great.
He's a simple candle maker. It's fine.
Just a simple candle maker. Uh,
He just had undead thralls. It's fine,
yeah.
which you get at level 6.
Also,
So,
we at some point we have to talk about like I say this
ridiculous
every episode.
NPC.
We say stuff like this every episode where it's like sometime we need to talk about like choosing between like a serious campaign and a silly campaign
Mhm.
and the RP choices that you can make with your characters on how to fulfill that would be really fun.
Yep.
It's
And then
like
inevitably you get that one player that's completely opposite of what you were going for. Like as a DM, it's it's
sure.
it's great but also frustrating because you're just like, I wanted a serious campaign and now I've got these chuckleheads over here, and it's just like, all right.
Had a very serious storyline, and then Maggie came to me and said, "I really want my character to be obsessed with oysters." And sometimes you just gotta lean into it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Uh,
you just got to
like
do the thing.
I think most people think of necromancers as like, oh, they're the villains in a campaign, or like
Yeah.
they're serious and they have dead things around them, and they're like grim and horrific and whatever. And then you have someone who plays Gern Blanston, the draconic like
Candle maker.
necromancer that made candles.
Yes. It was great. Um, and so the cool thing about like the necromancy school at level 10, your point maximum can't be reduced if you take necrotic damage, which is really good if you're fighting, say,
Mm,
like vampires. They
vampires.
do, like, if they hit you with their bite, they reduce your hit point max. Like I almost lost Keylight to
Yeah.
that. We were fighting in an insane asylum, and there was a vampire there, and he got a hold of my character, and because we did the math wrong, my character survived, but she came close. Like there was a moment there where we were like Affy looked at all of us and she's like, "Well, she reduces your hit point, or he reduces your hit points by 13, and you fall unconscious, and your hit point maximum is 0." And I went, "Oh, I'm making a new character
Yep.
because
Yep.
nobody but me had Revivify." I'm a cleric, but I'm a war domain cleric, so I'm basically a frontline fighter because we didn't have a barbarian until literally just like 2 weeks
It's
ago.
now
So
pasta.
it was pretty neat.
Ooh. You get your undead thralls, of course, at level 6.
Yep.
Which zombies, skeletons. I think you get how many?
And the creature's hit points is increased by an amount equal to your wizard level, which is nice.
Nice.
Um, and then
Yeah,
level 10,
level
we
10
talked about
resist.
you can't be reduced. Your hit points can't be reduced. Ma'am, can you not? I love you, but no. TT's not here.
And
I'm
then
sorry.
level 14, command undead. You can use magic to bring undead under your control, even those created by other wizards. As an action, you can choose one undead that you can see within 60 feet. That creature must make a charisma saving throw. If it succeeds, can't use this feature again. If
If
it
it
fails, it
fails,
becomes
it's
friendly to you and obeys your commands.
yep, which is pretty cool.
Ooh, this is interesting. If the target has an intelligence of 8 or higher, it has advantage on the saving throw.
Which is cool, I guess.
Very interesting.
And then if it has a 12 or higher, it can repeat the saving throw at the end of every hour until it succeeds.
That's
So
fascinating.
so that's cool for like low level undead. And like say
Yeah,
you try it
really
on
could
higher
create.
levels, they have a chance to get free.
Yeah,
So
really could create an undead army.
yeah, pretty much. Um
Um, Wild. Okay.
yeah.
And then the last one? Is this the
Yep,
last
yeah,
one?
this is the last one. So this is
School of
transmutation. And
Transmutation.
that's
This
what
is Widowgast.
yeah, I was gonna say
Whoa.
that's what Caleb was.
Oh,
So transmutation it deals with the ability to change things. The ability
yes.
so like there's always like these stories of like the transmuter stone which can turn one thing into another. And there was like the sorcerer's stone from Harry Potter that is very much a transmutation stone because it created um the ability to like have extended life and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Um Level
At
2, you get to temporarily alter the physical properties of one non-magical object. If you perform a special alchemical procedure on it, composed entirely of wood, stone, but not gemstone, iron, copper, or silver, transforming it into a different one of those materials.
yeah.
Um,
So
yeah.
like
So
I
and then it
think
reverts back to its original substance.
yes, I think it lasts
So
an hour.
yeah, which is pretty cool.
Like I think once Caleb used it to like seal a door behind them, basically turning the wood bar into
Rust
iron.
or something, yeah.
Um, yeah. I mean, it's handy. They also did the like turn a copper coin into silver, so
Mhm.
they could pay for stuff.
Yep.
Um, which is also pretty fun.
Yep. It's a good
At
way to
sixth
sort of
level,
like in a role
oh
play
yeah,
aspect, like I could think of using that as like a way to sort of misdirect something. Say you wanted to like hide an object
yes,
in plain sight, like you would just change that object to like look like something else or look like a dingy version or something like that or a better
yeah,
version of that. So that
yep,
that would be good as like a misdirect sort of role play aspect. So that would be
yeah,
cool.
that's true.
I love
Would be
using it.
cool. At sixth level, you create a transmuter stone. Takes 8 hours. You can use the stone to give yourself dark vision, increase your speed by 10 feet, give yourself proficiency in con saving throws, which is very handy for concentrating on spells,
Yep.
and also just, yeah, general against like poison and stuff. Um, or give yourself to some kind of elemental damage of your
I don't
choice.
remember
Acid,
Caleb using
cold.
his transmuter stone very often.
He did a couple times. Like I know he gave himself proficiency in Constitution saving throws
Okay.
multiple times. And if
Yeah, that's
they
probably
knew
what I
what they
would do.
were, yeah, I think he kept it at that most of the time. And then if he knew like if they knew they were coming up against something that was like, oh, fire,
Mhm.
um, every time you cast a transmutation spell, you can change the effect of the stone. So like could change it to give himself resistance to fire if they were going to fight something like a dragon or something. Or like they had the white dragon that they fought. I'm
Fought that a
assuming he
couple of
gave him.
times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
That which I found out that that white dragon that they fought in campaign 2 was actually like the child of Vorgal from campaign 1.
or was
So,
supposed to be the mate.
the mate. Okay.
They
So,
were supposed to like, yeah,
is pretty
he would
crazy.
have had a child, and then
Yeah.
Urgal got.
Well, no,
Um,
because it did have a child. Because in campaign 1, the white dragon that when they were doing their Slayer's Take missions, the white
how
dragon that
was
they
it?
killed was like the young one. It was like the youngling of those
Oh,
two.
so maybe they were mated. Interesting.
I'm like I know they're tied in there somehow, but
Interesting.
yes, it had something to do with that Slayer's Take mission. I
Ah,
believe that was the child. So,
fascinating. Okay. Um, at level 10, you get Polymorph, and you can cast it without expending a spell slot once per day.
which is pretty great, unless you turn
Just
into a moth.
then you eat grapes. At 14, you get Master Transmuter. So you can use your action to consume the reserve of transmutation magic stored in your transmuter stone. I think he used this at the end.
Okay,
I believe they used this at the end.
I don't
Your
remember
transmuter
honestly.
stone, your transmuter stone is destroyed. It cannot be remade. You can choose one of the following effects. You could transmute one non-magical object into another non-magical object of similar size and mass. Um, You can remove all curses, diseases, and poisons affecting a creature. They also regain all their hit points. Or you can cast Raise Dead without expending a spell slot. You can also use it to restore youth. And the creature's apparent age is reduced by 3d10 years to a minimum of 13 years. It does not affect the creature's lifespan, but you can make yourself look younger. I believe
Did he do that for his
he'll
parents at the end? I don't remember if he actually did the thing with his parents
no.
or not.
I don't. I think no. He spoke to his parents, but he did not do. He did not bring them back.
Okay.
Um, I believe he either used it on Lucian or he used it on Essek in the last fight.
Yeah, I don't really remember that fight. It took like 6 hours, so I don't really
That was
remember.
really long. It was like a 7-hour episode or something.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think that's right. I think he used that. Then, I mean, presumably you could make another one. It just takes 8 hours.
Yeah. And
But
then what? Yeah.
you have to sleep first. Now, having a wizard that's able to do that, though, is clutch because, like, if someone goes down and the someone is your cleric,
You
you could
make
bring them
good
back.
choices like I do as a cleric.
uh,
Yeah.
I think
That's kind of it for
that's it.
classes now. Oh.
We did it!
We finally got through all of the freaking classes. Do we want to quick talk about our favorite multi classes?
Sure. Let's do it. Um, favorite. I like weird ones.
I do too. I like making weird combos of stuff.
Yeah.
Like what did we talked about a bard necromancer once.
Yes, because I want to make Sabriel.
Yes.
Uh, someday, maybe.
I'm being too.
Um, yeah, right. Um, there's also like there's what was the one? It's like I believe campaign 3 of NADPOD right now. They have because Emily Axford always multi classes. Um, and I believe she has a paladin sword bard multi-class,
Oh, okay. That's an
so she
interesting
can
choice.
like smite and do flourishes.
Mm-hmm.
It's very interesting. Very interesting.
I played
There's
a
also an
monk that
Eladrin.
multi-classed to cleric. They were a clunk. It was great. That was probably my favorite multi-class that I've ever
Yeah,
done. Because like for role play choices, because my monk, I was playing a Sun Soul monk at the time for the Tyranny of Dragons or Rise of Tiamat, whichever one you fight Tiamat in.
yeah,
And um they're like my party members, a bunch of them had gone down and there was literally nothing I could do to help them. besides dump healing potions into them, and I almost
Yeah.
didn't get to one of them fast enough. So I'm like my monk made the choice to multi-class into cleric and became a
Yeah.
life cleric monk
E-
multi-class. So
Those spell slots. Even if
yeah.
just for a moment, you know?
Hmm.
um, or even just first level ones, it's like at least you can bring somebody up.
Yeah.
Um,
I think another
I think,
combination that would be cool is College of Swords and a fighter.
oh yeah, oh yeah, that would be very interesting. Then you can add those
Basically
flourishes on there.
battle like like the drummers that you would see in battle. This is basically what I would think of
Actually,
them as.
you know what? I think one of the Dimension 20 was a sword bard fighter multi-class. If I'm not
Okay.
mistaken.
Nice. Chat, do you guys have
Um,
any favorite multi-classes that you can throw at us while
yeah,
we're
what are
talking about
yours? I
this?
mean, one that I'm having a lot of fun with right now is I have fighter rogue. It's really fun, and I just took magic initiate, so I can add like what's it called? It's like you do thunder damage when you hit somebody. So I do
Oh
like a
yeah, yeah, yeah.
superiority die and sneak attack and thunder damage. and
Doing all the damage.
all the damage. It's very fun. Um, you know what I always thought was kind of a fun one too was the one shot that they did for the Darrington Brigade,
Hmm.
and Allison Jaffe played uh, level 5 barbarian, level 5 rogue. So he could use reckless attacks to give himself advantage and do sneak attack.
Yep.
Also, his character was hilarious because he was called the Owl Bear, and he was like basically a superhero,
Yep.
just like a really cheesy superhero, and he spent the whole game making puns,
Yep.
which was great.
I liked Marisha's character in that one too. The
Yes,
with the
Bard,
wax rolls and stuff like that. Yeah, it was
Max
pretty
Cylinders,
great.
yes,
That was good.
so good.
Oh
Oh
boy, what other multi-classes have I done? I haven't done very many because I usually don't. Because I like if I'm
yeah,
playing if I'm playing like a magic user, I want those high level spells. So I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
multi-class that often. But I'm trying to think of what else I've done.
Do like Karani having that ability to like throw out those portent rolls.
Yep. Yeah.
The
It is
cleric
good.
wizard. He's real squishy though, compared to everybody else.
I think
He has a
Ram
plus
has
0
double the
concentration.
hit points of Cranny right now.
It's got to be more than that even because I have no con mod.
Oh, yep. Yeah, so Ram's definitely got more than
So
double of that.
what is her hit points? Like 92, I think.
Cranny's?
Level
You guys are level 12 now.
12.
Yeah. And Ram's is like 160 something. Like, it's ridiculous. Ram is the reason that every single creature you fight has an extra 200 hit points.
Well,
Because I'm a nice DM and I give you guys max HP, but also that means I have to
true.
make my monsters stronger. So,
Yeah, Karani has 92 hit points.
she's a little squishy, but it's okay. She's
Squishy.
the cleric. She's supposed to stay back anyways.
Hey, next level up, she'll hit a flat 100.
Nice. You really need to increase
Oh,
your con mod, like bad.
I do. I probably do. Yeah. I mean, I have a druid warlock combo.
Yep.
Like the warlock is so much more RP than anything. But undead creatures have to make a wisdom saving throw before they can attack her
Mm.
because of her
Dying ability or
uh,
whatever. Yeah.
yeah. And then on top of that, okay, so that one in particular is for Curse of Strahd. Um,
Which is
and
good because you need that in that game. Like Curse of Strahd, there's a
yeah,
lot of undead.
yeah. And also I don't know if you've ever played through Curse of Strahd, but there's a
I
part where you go.
didn't, but I watched Affy run it for like I watched
Okay.
most of when Affy ran it. That
So
was like
there's a
when I
part where
first got here.
you go to this temple, called the Amber Temple,
Mm.
and if you are so inclined, you can touch these amber sarcophagi
Yep,
and make pacts
with the
with
people
beings that
that
are
are
trapped
inside of him.
inside.
Yep.
You may have also done that. Like the first one that I made the pact with was my actual warlock patron already.
Oh, okay.
Um, and so she was half drow, so it made her all of her hair turn white. Because it was like brown with silver streaks.
Okay.
It made all of her hair turn white, and her eyes went blue. Then she did make a pact with another one because Curse of
Why not?
Strahd is dark, and
They can duke it out over your soul.
so she tried to intimidate some other creature into giving her stuff, and now she can do spider climb, stuff like that.
That's awesome. Cool.
She has a third eye, like right here on her chest. Kind of weird.
A little bit. Well, that kind of brings us to the end of the classes. It's a good place to stop. We've been going for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Uh,
We'll be back in
yeah,
2 weeks. We don't know what we're going to be talking about yet, but
yeah.
figure it out.
What's the next section in the player's handbook? Actually, that'll kind of give us a little bit of an idea.
Um,
Is it
maybe
equipment?
combat stuff or equipment.
Equipment's always fun to talk about because everybody does their starting equipment differently.
Yeah.
So,
Oh,
personality and
background
backgrounds. Okay. So yeah,
could be interesting.
languages, that sort of thing. We'll go through the different
We
like
could go through
backgrounds that you
that.
can pick. Um,
Backgrounds, equipment,
yeah.
feats.
Yeah,
Maybe if we
depending
get
on
to it.
how far we get, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's probably where we'll head next.
Well, cool. Well, it's been fun talking with you all. I
I don't know
hope
if
to
we
see
have
you
anybody to
again.
raid right now. Let me double check if we've got somebody that we can raid.
We could raid Dungeons and Dragons.
Who do we got on
I don't
here
know if they would
tonight?
notice. Not that they need it.
Do.
Oh, Transplaner is on.
Come on. Um,
Do that one.
I don't know that
Doing
we've
good with the
ever.
Transplaner folks.
I don't.
And
Who? So,
Ning Chang
how
is
do you
awesome.
spell their thing? I'll set up the raid for them.
TRANSPLANAR RPG.
Lanar. Okay. All right, cool. Well, we're gonna raid them real quick here, y'all, and so stick around for that, and we'll kind of go from there. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Hi, y'all.